course, the big news coming out of SmackDown, aside from the draft, is Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Are you okay with having a gimmick match inside of another gimmick, because it will be an I Quit Hell in a Cell match?
That's weird. It's
more to the point.
I don't know.
Are you looking forward to next year's Royal Rumble inside the Elimination Chamber? Are you looking forward?
This is where it starts.
To the women's gauntlet inside a Punjabi prison.
Oh, baby. No, that's the problem with stuff like this. This is where it starts. You put a gimmick match inside a gimmick match. We're going to start getting a bunch of bullshit combinations. I don't think the I Quit stipulation is necessary, because you're already in, Hell in a Cell, the Devil's Playground. Used to be
Anus and Uranus.
Used to be the most terrifying thing in all of WWE. Even with the Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell was still just terrifying until everyone and Vince decided to go, hey, it's October. Hell in a Cell, let's do it every year. It's definitely, the cell itself has diminishing returns. It's not as terrifying as it used to be, but I'm still excited for the match itself. Roman and Jey had a fantastic match at Clash of Champions, or Night of Champions, whatever.
Clash of Champions, you're right, the first time.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Clash of Champions, Gold Rush, I think it was, because every stupid pay-per-view needs to end of the line.
Fast lane, hard shoulder. I got to go off on it a bit. Now, obviously, if you're going to have any rivalry, any storyline that you got going on right now that's going to have to deal with this gimmick thing, it's going to be them. And they'll put on a clinic, I reckon. And their storytelling has been world-class throughout this. They have drawn me in so quickly. And obviously, I'm always going to be so involved and engrossed in everything, because the Usos are ultimately, for my money, the best tag team in the world. And even if it's just one of them, I'm still very, very emotionally attached to what they do. I'm very invested as a mark. I love them. And I hate this, because I don't like... Do you know where the first downfall was? When they started making the pay-per-views based on the gimmick matches. So when we went from having good, solid pay-per-view names, like Backlash and Vengeance and all that kind of stuff, and they do still have some of those, but all of a sudden they started actually having, pay-per-views by the names of the matches. Hell in a Cell, Money in the Bank,
Fatal Four-Way.
Fuck that one. That one's terrible. Like NXT, on the other hand, giving us Halloween Havoc, Great American Bash. It's like NXT gives you what you want, and Vince is just like, But the thing is, for instance, Extreme Rules is probably the worst offender of the lot. And I think, was it like either last year or the year before, there was one Extreme Rules match on that show, and everything else is just boring, normal matches. You thought, okay, what's the point in that? Or they go completely ridiculous. Like, they've got a TLC pay-per-view. And, like, there'd be, a tables match. Someone would have a ladder match. Then there'd be a TLC match. Then there'd be, like, a flag on a pole match. You just think, fuck off. What you've done is you've watered down these gimmicks. You've nullified their effectiveness. Like you said, with the Hell in a Cell, right? Diminishing returns. Absolutely. So that should be the name of the next Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Hell in a Cell, Diminishing Returns. Like, that actually sounds quite menacing. Sounds quite good. For instance, cheap plug for you, everybody. Our YouTube channel, me and Carl have started doing watch-alongs of our matches, and each week we kind of rotate our picks. And obviously the next one will be recorded soon for anyone who is still interested in checking them out. One of the ones we did was the first ever Hell in a Cell. And if you watch it, you're still just so drawn in to the drama, to the set piece of what you're watching. And then you put that against modern day Hell in a Cell matches. Now, there have been some really good ones, but overall, it's just been watered down. For instance, I know when Hell in a Cell is going to be a thing because you've already named the pay-per-view for it. So I know that, we're getting up to Hell in a Cell season. Since when is Hell in a Cell a season? Since when is Hell in a Cell a calendar date? I'll just tick that one off. From a kayfabe standpoint, do wrestlers look at the calendar and think, Hell in a Cell's coming up, so I better get in a really nasty rivalry with somebody I don't like? Who shall I agitate? And Randy Orton's sitting there going, well, if I start my rivalry now, me and Drew can finish at Hell in a Cell. Like, it doesn't make any sense that they just conveniently collide, it ruins a lot of the organic nature. Even if you know it's a work, you still want to enjoy it for what it is. You know, you still want to enjoy the work. You know, for instance, I know that Walking Dead isn't real, but I still want to be presented with the best story when I watch it. So why would you actively go out of your way to telegraph when all these shows are? I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, we've got Hell in a Cell on here. Because if we put that name on, people will buy that based on the name. No, people buy based on the rivalries, based on the way you sell the match. People were always going to come in their droves to watch Bad Blood because the concept of Undertaker and Shawn Michaels murdering themselves inside this brand new, fancy, incredible gimmick, like, that's fucking cool. That's exciting. That draws you in. If you then say to your audience, oh yeah, Hell in a Cell's this month every year, you know, or it's going to be a gimmick pay-per-view every year, people aren't going to care. Why should they give a shit? I don't give a shit personally. You're completely ruining and nullifying the concept of a gimmick. And so that's bad enough. Now we get to present day, and someone's gone, hey Vince, like, some fucking monkey in creative is to fucking, he needs to be set ablaze for this nonsense, because he's turned around to Vince and gone, oh, do you know what would be really cool? If we, on a gimmick pay-per-view, put another gimmick inside the gimmick that's on that gimmick pay-per-view. And Vince is like, what? Money! Genius! 2 gimmicks for 1. That means, like, Vince is probably so fucking senile, he probably thinks that he's going to get double buyer rates for it. So we get double the money because people will pay twice to see 2 matches in one. It's a terrible idea, but if you're going to trust 2 people to do it, you know that Roman and Jay will still knock out of the park. So I can't bury it emphatically, but I worry because this feels like a slippery slope. Because I'm joking about things like, you know, let's have a Royal Rumble inside Elimination Chamber. You know that's going to happen eventually. You know they're going to start trialing dumb shit like that. Same with the cinematic stuff. It's great, but if you overuse it, if you oversaturate people, it gets diminishing returns.